stealing. Okay, if you steal, then the punishment to start with is to give you short sleeve. If you steal again, they short sleeve your left hand, they short sleeve your right hand, then they give you long sleeves. So the long sleeves on both arms means you can't even steal anymore. But we found that all these religious rules are only applicable to the poor people. It's not applicable to the real criminals. Because there is no northern governor, former and present, that did not loot from their people to further impoverish them. Majority of them get rewarded to become, senator. Others get rewarded to become ministers. And they would appear as if to say they are Muslims, even though I believe that they are not. Yeah, I don't believe there is any Muslim politician from northern Nigeria. They are just pure criminals hiding behind religion. When it comes to the religious, doctrines that is against this bad behavior or that bad behavior, it is not applicable to your criminal politicians in northern Nigeria. It's mostly for the poor. And somehow, I also believe that majority of the northern politicians, they are terrorists as well. Reason is because if you are a terrorist sympathizer, to me, you are a terrorist as well. They did all they could to make the ragtag terrorists up north to flourish. They protected them. They hid them from Nigeria because they are pretty much like useful tools in their hands. So somebody like Badru, even the Badru and the rest of them, these rogues and criminals, they are not supposed to be holding sensitive positions in that contraption. But what can you say? What can you do? When the supposed president of the country is a former drug dealer, heroin trafficker, his wife, heroin trafficker, his mother, heroin trafficker, drug dealers, or his adopted mother, Abati Mogachi. So if you see drug dealer plus terrorist, armed robbers, human traffickers, they all exist in the same sphere, in the same world, their own world. But Badru got rewarded as a minister. Yeah, the vice president as well, a shitty man, a terrorist sympathizer, a terrorist himself. So drug dealer, terrorist, treasury looters, certificate forgers, name it, pedophiles, and the rest of them, they are in sensitive positions in that contraption. And all of them also have religion. That's one thing they also have in common. When you see the ones who want to claim to be Christians, you go think, say, they were actually there when they did the Jesus naming ceremony. And when you see those ones who claim to be Muslim, you will think they are one of the Muhammad Sahabi and Sahabi Muhammad. But these are a bunch of criminals. Bunch of criminals holding sensitive positions, making decisions on behalf of millions of people. So when a criminal meets criminal, I think they mix together. I was with Hopeless Uzodingba. They are talking about the insecurity in Eastern Nigeria, I think. And listen to them.
He has been supporting our operations very well, so we appreciate what he does. So I have to come and say thank you. He's been supportive, very, very supportive, both in supporting the military and on the non-kinetic aspect of our operation also. As you are aware, yesterday we had meeting with his support, in Enugu with all the security stakeholders. That is the youth group, the chiefs, and the CSOs, all from the southeast. And we have robust discussions, and they have contributed very well on how we can improve security in the south.
It is a new initiative that the military has taken, also trying to do a double-barrel approach, kinetic and non-kinetic. Like you just said yesterday, there was a very elaborate stakeholders engagement in Enugu, where stakeholders were persuaded to toe the line of peace and protection of government properties and infrastructure. So it's a welcome idea. Like you know, the Honorable Minister is one of us. He's a man with tested record and ability to perform. And given the positive contributions and advice he has given to the military and the recording of successes of late, I think we are coming almost to the end of the tunnel, and we should see light. The thing about insurgency, kidnapping, and all manner of criminalities in the southeast will soon become a thing of the past. As for the Yuletide, our people of the security agencies here are prepared and are well equipped. Unfortunately, in the past, we had some casualties here and there. They've risen to the occasion, and we continue to support them to ensure our people go about their businesses without fear of any molestation. So I want to commend the Ministry of Defense, commend the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Police, and other security agencies for the support they are giving to us. What confronted us is better imagined than discussed, but to the glory of God.
I earlier today. I've got few. I was allowed to add some if I wanted to. I don't know if it's, even if it's like a lower, I don't know what you think. But we can have a sound in the background. So the African Wala said he seems to be it, or others will not. So I'm going to leave it just a few minutes. You tell me what you think about it. So we are still in the Eastern Nigeria. One of the controversial topics that reared its head in the last few days is the, misconception. It's quite intentional, right? Or just so just take it out. There's no point in leaving it. I actually thought you said you liked it, the African Wahala. Yeah. So it takes my sound off, it takes my voice away, right? We have stopped it, don't worry. So we are staying in the eastern part of Nigeria. And this is from what Ruben Abati said. Somebody has gone back here to the Arise studio on the issue of the Igbos don't sell their lands to strangers using TOS Benson as an example. So someone has taken it up with him. Oji Okwe, who tried to have a conversation with Ruben on the matter, was completely shut down, bullied, which really triggered reactions online that Ruben Abati is a very useless old man, a corporate bigot. He himself, this won't be the first time though, all right? I remember when he had an altercation with a Arise reporter. I don't know some of you, I should have brought the video. So the Arise reporter was reporting at an event, and then she was like, over to you, Ruben. Ruben Abati just lost it on a live TV. How dare you call me Ruben when you're supposed to call me Dr. Ruben? Dr. Ruben. And honestly, he tried, or he did, make that lady look so small and made her felt pretty much like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was kind of bullish. So did same thing to Otti. But somebody went back into that studio today to put the record straight. So I decided I'm going to share that with us this evening before we go. Please listen.
What are your thoughts on this very naughty debate?
Well, I'll begin by contextualizing Ruben's observations. Then I'll touch on T.O.'s Benson himself, some other statements and activities associated with him in connection with land. Then I'll raise core issues about why it is not always easy to get land in some areas, and what those of us who are actually from the Southeast, the challenge we have among ourselves about land, beginning with Ruben. Yes, like you said, he started by pointing out some good things about the people from that part of the country. Then he made a reference to the comments of T.O.S. Benson. Ruben was not speaking as Ruben Abati. It was reported speech. In other words, he was telling us what he heard. That's number one. Number two, there's then the perception, okay, if a man as Benson would say this, there's also the possibility that this is factually correct. But that's if what Benson said. You've said he's not a flippant person. That is correct. But what if in that instance, actually, the statement is not correct? And I asked that question knowing for a fact T.O.S. Benson's in-laws are Mbiri people. That's the place of the former Minister of Education, Obaji, the husband Sam. We spoke about some of these things. He is their in-law. He was their in-law. Now, when I marry your daughter and I come to you for land, should you look at me as a possible source of income, or should you consider the fact that my daughter is in your custody? In fact, rather than sell land to you, I'll give one to you. The closer my daughter is, the easier it is for me to be sure she's being well taken care of. So for the record and for all of us, Mbiri people gave land, donated land to Chief Benson at Mbiri, which he used, in fact, at his own discretion to construct a post office for the people. And the structure is still there. So recontextualization, Ruben did not set out to misinform anybody by the statement he made, but he was correctly quoting Chief Benson. Now, so let us also get it to that point. And then when the altercation, if you like that expression, between him and his colleague, brilliant presenter, the young lady, remember he said, in a bit of anger, which was a little too heated, that if others, apparently he has some other sources, and if others have, let them present anthropological evidence. Now, the point there is this. You can carry out a research on the behavior of Gwagwalada people. That research will require field work. The result you get will depend on whom you interviewed. And if later I read that work, I'll say, oh, Gwagwalada people have these qualities. And I make this with, I recall that 2019, yes, I was in charge of Tambuwal's campaign for president, and some people came and presented in poll results with 58% showing that Nigerians wanted him to be president. I told him, Your Excellency, this is a non-starter. He said, how? Delegate elections is not a popular election. So you carry out a poll among people in the street, heaven knows who they are, and you come to say, which Nigerians? So you get the point that even where you have anthropological evidence of the sort secured through polls and research and questionnaires, it doesn't guarantee anything. Why I take this trajectory is for us not to. There's what you call reported speech. In interpretative writing, when I make a statement and you say, okay, Ikechukwu said, you're conveying what I said. If I now say, okay, Ikechukwu said, and I agree, I'm endorsing, I'm taking ownership. So having contextualized it from the origin of the expression itself, that it was a narrated story, I've also presented counterfactual that the man actually has land donated to him. I will add that the former director of works at the Federal University of Technology in Owerri has land in Owerri that he bought. That's where he lives. He's a farmer today. If you go to Owerri, you have the Rotibi Street off Douglas Road. That street is named after a Yoruba man who back then bought practically the entire area. He was a great entrepreneur. Those Igbo people who own lands in those areas bought it from him. Then, of course, you recall that Umoru Atine Alaji was a mayor of Enugu sometime in the 60s, or was it 50s now? He was also in charge of land allocation. Igbos didn't meet and sell him, don't sell to outsiders. If you go to Enugu today, the one area, Garki area, people from all over the country have land there. So there's, I think even for me personally, when I watched the controversy, I said, thank you, Ruben, because this has thrown up a matter on which there should be national discourse. More people will gain information and will all be the better for it. That's the essential point. The second one is about land generally. You don't have too many people who are not Easterners who have land. And the question is, why is it that people have land elsewhere? Because there's business elsewhere. Tell me, what federal establishments do you have in Enugu, in all over the southeast, that will make me leave my place in Yoruba land to come and buy land? Is it to be a villager? So we must also see the connection between national infrastructure, national institutions, national political headquarters, etc. The limited absence of that in the southeast makes the land there totally unattractive for anybody to procure. Why are Igbos buying up lands in Lagos? Because they need it. And I speak from some involvement in what's going on at that in the area of business. Little Road used to be made up of a couple of tiny bungalows. The same with Enowa Street. Go to Enowa today, there's no building there that's less than 2-story buildings. Check the history, you'll find out that it was the traders who went to negotiate with most of the people. Allow me build a 2-story building here. I will use it for warehousing. You live in part of it. After 10 years, it becomes yours, and I begin to rent. And I speak because I know those who did that, some of them who were direct relations. That's how most of those places got built up. You may also recall that Ndubisi Kano, an Igbo man at a point he was governor, actually met with the people, called them to a meeting and said, stop selling land. Do leases. Make this arrangement. That's when this alternative thing came up. Now, an Igbo man will not go to Newe and build a 2-story building to store his things because there's no port near him. He will be throwing his money away. So all of that, you can take it into account. Why will I leave Kano to come and buy land in Imo State or in Anambra State? Am I on drugs? There is nothing going on in those places. So the political economy of the Nigerian state is also partly responsible for the things we are blaming on other things. Now, putting all of that aside even, let's pretend all of this doesn't exist. National infrastructure. The rail system of any nation is at the arteries of that country. Do you have rail in Nigeria? Yes. Do you have it in the southeast? No. Did you used to have it in the southeast? Yes. How did some of us know places like Saminaka, Kajuru, Lafia, etc.? It was because we traveled by road. You don't have that anymore. And so, putting that aside as well, let's come to the issue of land. You say, land holding system. No, I'm not going to talk about land holding system, but I'm going to talk about personal experience. The southeast is land choked. The land is not available. You go to most places in the southeast, you find that people bury in their compounds. My parents are no more. One of my sisters is no more. They are buried in the old family compound. My cousin Ide has a section of his land he uses for that. So there are other things to be understood. First, the land is not available. Where is it available and you want to buy it, you buy. Go to Onitsha. Onitsha Business School is owned by Shogbeson. Professor Shogbeson is a Yoruba man. He started it in 2010. So it's not like saying, it's only in the 60s, These days, they are not doing it. Today, it is thriving as one of the best business schools, working with the people. Last week, I went there to give the keynote address on innovative entrepreneurship for under 45s. Most of those who came were the people in the environment. You wouldn't know he doesn't belong there. So, in essence, taking it, in that trajectory, what has emerged is a perception that was fueled or is being fueled by people who talk about it. Ruben diligently acknowledged the virtues of the Igbos he knew. Put a however based on a story by Chief Benson. Looking back at it, I don't know whether Chief Benson meant it in jest, but the fact that he has land actually donated to him by Mbiri people, who are now right now, in fact, I understand, very, very angry about all of this, that they are being misrepresented, where he went out of his way to build them a post office on that land, etc. And also the cultural practice.
Well, Prof.
That your in-law wants land near you.
Prof, sir, if I may...
I don't have to add anything. I just thought I should share that as a bit of a follow-up to that heated conversation So if you don't travel, you wouldn't know. Like he said, and a lot of people have said that as well on this platform, there are so many factors that contribute to the issue of land, not just in the eastern part of Nigeria, but everywhere too. If somebody says that the Igbos are not accommodating, it is an agenda, and we know it is political. So I found this clip of the Yoruba community in Abia State. Not only that they have been there established, they also want to be part of the government of Abia State in a way that they make their own request in public. Have you seen this?
The state that you help us to be part of your administration. We pray it will not even end in 4 years, it will end in 7 years' time. And so shall it be in Jesus' name. We ask that you help us, that one of the community, a member, who can help us to approve it, to be one of our commissioner, special advisor, as to may fit to be. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The Yoruba community enjoying the Mbati in Enyimba, Abia State. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome after now. All right, thank you, Yoruba community. Thank you so much. Eshegon, thank you. Let me welcome the project manager of one of the topmost.
So that too also happened. And this is less than a year ago, just so you know. Okay. That was with Alex Otti, who was constructing a road project or thereabout in their area. And they used the opportunity to ask him to not only that they have been well received, accommodated, they want to be part of the government, not just any appointment. They would love one of them to be commissioners, personal advisors, and whatever role that they find or deem fit. So if they are not hospitable, like the Ronukus would want you to believe. You know why I'm showing you this is that it probably won't change your perception about the Igbos, just like there are some Igbos whose perception of the Yorubas will never change, no matter how much you try to educate them, all right? But there are others that their level of ignorance is powered by the hatred that the entire contraption represents. So somehow, they might be innocent of all those misleading perceptions. So what Mayegun's diary political does is just to show to you that it's either you are ignorant, innocently, or you are intentional of your bigotry. But you will never deny knowing the truth if you choose to find it. All right? I just thought I should share that with you. I'm back to Lagos, okay? So I saw Wahab doing what he knows how to do best, showing us the mega shitty of Tipnumbu, which somebody like himself, as an environment commissioner, has been doing so much to change, you know? So here is the latest from Wahab to Kumbo.
I'm our plate to our open then we'll take the hold and then we can get it. Maybe